Hey ChatGPT, who is behind the Los Angeles wildfires? Is it global warming, but who is responsible of it? Big giants like coal mining, etc.
Quran, Surah Al-Anfal chapter 8 verse 60. And prepare against them whatever you are able of power and of steeds of war by which you may terrify the enemy of Allah and your enemy and others besides them whom you do not know, but whom Allah knows. And whatever you spend in the cause of Allah will be fully repaid to you, and you will not be wronged. This verse emphasizes the need for preparedness and responsibility, which can be interpreted in the context of environmental stewardship and the consequences of our actions on the earth. Clearly, the increasing frequency and intensity of wildfires can be attributed to several human and industrial factors, including the fossil fuel industry, which significantly contributes to greenhouse gas emissions through coal, oil, and natural gas extraction, driving climate change. Additionally, agricultural practices and deforestation lead to land degradation, creating conditions conducive to wildfires. Government policies regarding land use, forest management, and climate change mitigation also play a crucial role in influencing wildfire risks. Addressing these challenges necessitates coordinated efforts across various sectors and levels of governance.
Thank you so much, ChatGPT. Let's dive deeper into this chapter together with Jack and Wilson. Hey everyone, before we dive into that, I was delving into my YouTube channel analytics and noticed most of you who watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. Would you do me a huge favor, please, and hit the subscribe button? It really motivates me and helps the channel to grow so I can do more videos just like the one you're about to watch. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Welcome to another deep dive. And today we're going to explore a topic that was specifically chosen for you guys. We're talking about the recent wildfires that happened in Los Angeles. And you've probably seen the shocking images of these fire tornadoes and those incredible stories of people barely escaping with their lives.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a disaster movie.
All right.
But the reality is obviously much more frightening because this happened in January.
You're right. January in Los Angeles is usually when we think about rain, not wildfires. It's that time when, the hills are lush and green, not blackened and smoldering.
Exactly. So to understand what's going on here, we're going to dive deep into a YouTube video. It's by Dhruv Rathi, and it's titled Los Angeles Wildfire. These People Are Burning America. Dhruv Rathi. It's published January 21st, 2025. And in this deep dive, we're going to examine the immediate causes. We're going to look at the bigger picture of climate change and even explore a potential conspiracy. But first, let's just try to grasp the sheer scale of this disaster. I mean, it's really mind-boggling.
Well over a week of burning across multiple locations.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. And the human cost is immense. 24 deaths have already been confirmed, and that number could still rise. And can you imagine the impact of losing your home? Over 12,000 buildings destroyed in these fires, just reduced to ashes.
And over 180,000 people have been displaced. I mean, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
The disruption, the fear, the uncertainty these families are facing. And then there's the economic fallout, too. JP Morgan is estimating a potential loss of $50 billion.
Yeah.
That's going to ripple through every part of the economy, from jobs to businesses. I mean, this is a disaster that will touch everyone in some way. But what exactly sparked all of this off?
Well, for one thing, Southern California was experiencing drier than usual conditions.
Right.
The vegetation was incredibly flammable, just ready to burn. And then add in the Santa Ana winds.
Okay, so those winds have a reputation for being fierce.
Yeah.
But why are they such a problem for these fires?
Well, they're hot and dry, and they rush down the mountains.
Yeah.
From the Great Basin, and as the air descends, it gets compressed and it heats up even more. And so you basically have a perfect storm for wildfires.
Wow.
It's almost like someone took a giant hairdryer and aimed it at this already parched landscape. So even a small spark in these conditions can just explode into an inferno.
And the video mentions fireworks as a possible initial trigger. It's just a stark reminder that even seemingly small actions that people take can have these huge devastating consequences.
Absolutely. But we have to look beyond just those immediate causes. The real question is, why are these conditions, the dryness, the extreme winds, why are they becoming more frequent and intense? That's where I think climate change really enters the picture.
Yeah, and this is where the story of this climate scientist, Peter Kalmus, gets really interesting. So he actually left Los Angeles back in 2022 because he foresaw this exact risk. He could just see the city becoming a tinderbox, becoming vulnerable to these kinds of disasters.
Yeah, he had been living in Los Angeles for over a decade, and he noticed this gradual but disturbing shift. The heat was becoming more intense. It was lasting longer. In 2020, he actually experienced heat exhaustion for the first time. And that same year, the Bobcat Fire raged through the Angeles National Forest. And it just blanketed the city in smoke and ash for weeks.
I can't imagine how unsettling that must have been.
It was a turning point for him. He realized that Los Angeles was becoming increasingly dangerous, not just for him, but for his family as well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a feeling. It was based on, his understanding of the science. So Kalmus's observations, combined with the fact that 2023 was the hottest year on record globally, just painted this very alarming picture. Record heat plus Santa Ana winds equals, disaster.
No, he took this drastic step. He uprooted his whole family and moved to North Carolina. And it must have been a difficult decision to leave his home, but he felt like it was necessary to protect his loved ones. And here's the tragic irony. His former neighborhood in Los Angeles did eventually burn down in these recent fires.
Yeah.
So his fears were not unfounded at all.
It really does highlight the tangible, everyday impacts of climate change. It's not just about melting ice caps and rising sea levels. It's about people's lives being directly affected by this. Their homes, their safety, their very sense of place is being threatened.
It's a stark reminder that climate change isn't some abstract concept in the future. It's happening now.
Right.
It's affecting real people.
Right.
And it's forcing people to make incredibly difficult decisions.
And Kalmus's story is just one example of this much larger and, alarming trend.
Right.
Similar extreme weather events are happening all over the world.
Yeah.
You look at the devastating fires in Hawaii in 2023.
Right.
Heat domes in the Pacific Northwest. Hurricanes in North Carolina. The wildfires in Australia. It's a global crisis that's demanding our attention.
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder if this is happening everywhere. Is there something more sinister at play here? Is there a hidden hand that's maybe guiding this crisis?
The video raises a very intriguing possibility, and that is a conspiracy. It points out that 80% of greenhouse gas emissions since 2016 have come from just 57 companies. And most of these companies are in the fossil fuel industry.
That's a pretty shocking statistic. It definitely raises some serious questions about the role of powerful industries in this climate crisis. So let's examine that evidence carefully.
And the video reveals something really shocking. It says that the fossil fuel industry has known about the dangers of carbon emissions since the 1950s.
Wait, are you serious? They knew about this for decades.
Yeah, and not only did they know about it, they actively suppressed the scientific findings. They funded misinformation campaigns to mislead the public.
Wow. So for decades, while the planet was warming, these companies chose profit over the well-being of the planet and its people.
It's a betrayal of trust.
Yeah, it's incredibly disturbing. It makes you question, who to trust if powerful industries are actively working against the best interests of the planet and its people.
Right. And Kalmus argues that it's not just the fossil fuel companies themselves. He believes that the entire billionaire class, those who have amassed fortunes from industries that, contribute to climate change, they're the ones who are actively blocking progress towards renewable energy.
Why would they do that? I mean, wouldn't they also be affected by the consequences of climate change?
Well, logically, you would think so, but it seems that their primary concern is protecting their wealth and their power. So as long as their profits are tied to fossil fuels, they're willing to delay the inevitable transition to a cleaner, more sustainable future. And the video uses the example of the Mountain Valley Pipeline project in the U.S. Despite strong opposition from environmental groups, this project was revived thanks to, heavy lobbying efforts and political maneuvering. It's a clear illustration of how money and influence can be used to override environmental concerns.
So it feels like we've stumbled into some sort of conspiracy thriller.
Yeah.
We started with these terrifying wildfires in Los Angeles.
Right.
And now we're talking about these powerful entities potentially working behind the scenes to protect their interests, even if it means jeopardizing the future of the planet. I mean, where do we even go from here? What can we as average people actually do in the face of such, deeply entrenched power structures?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And it's one that I think we all need to grapple with. It's easy to feel overwhelmed in these situations.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to resist that sense of hopelessness. Individual actions alone won't solve the climate crisis. But that doesn't mean that they're meaningless.
Right.
Every choice we make, from the products we buy to the way we vote, it has an impact. And when enough individuals make different choices,
Yeah.
it can create a ripple effect that leads to larger systemic change.
So it's about shifting our mindset. Our consumption patterns are priorities. But how do we move beyond these individual actions to create real lasting change?
I think it's about holding those in power accountable. It's about demanding transparency from these corporations.
Right.
Pushing for policies that prioritize the environment over short-term profits. It's about using our voices, our votes, our wallets to create a world that's more just and sustainable.
And this all connects back to, those wildfires in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's not just about dry conditions and Santa Ana wines. It's about the choices that we're making, the systems we're supporting, the future that we're creating for ourselves.
Exactly. Those wildfires are like a wake-up call. They're urging us to pay attention to the consequences of our actions and to start demanding a different path forward. And it's not just about the environment either. It's about social justice. It's about economic equality. It's about the very foundation of our society.
Because climate change is like a magnifying glass, isn't it?
Yes.
It amplifies those existing inequalities and it creates new ones.
Right.
I mean, the poorest and most vulnerable populations are always the ones hit hardest by these extreme weather events and environmental degradation.
Yeah.
So addressing climate change is also about creating a fairer world for everyone.
Precisely. We need to move beyond just reacting to these immediate crises and start thinking about long-term solutions. We need to reimagine our relationship with the planet, with each other,
Yeah.
and with the very systems that govern our lives.
This feels like a much bigger conversation than just wildfires in Los Angeles.
Right.
We're talking about the future of humanity here, and that can feel pretty daunting. So where do we even begin?
Well, it all starts with awareness.
Yeah.
Recognizing the interconnectedness of these issues, understanding the forces at play.
Right.
And then it's about finding our own unique ways to contribute to the solution. For some, it might be reducing their carbon footprint. For others, it might be advocating for policy change. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
So it's about recognizing that we're not just passive bystanders,
Right.
but active participants in shaping the future.
Exactly. And even seemingly small actions, when multiplied by millions, can create this powerful force for change.
I think that's such a powerful idea that, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress.
Yeah.
And every step towards a sustainable future, no matter how small, is a victory.
Exactly. And it brings us back to that question, that you posed earlier.
Yeah.
What responsibility do we have as individuals
Yeah.
to disrupt a system that prioritizes profit over the planet? It's a heavy question to end on,
It is.
but it's one worth pondering.
Yeah, it is a heavy question, but I think, the answer lies within each of us. It starts with, recognizing that we're not powerless.
Right.
Our choices have an impact, and we can be agents of change.
We can be.
And the wildfires in Los Angeles, while tragic, can serve as this powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of these issues and the urgency of taking action.
There.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. I mean, we started with these terrifying images of these fire tornadoes.
Right.
And then we went to, this deeper understanding of climate change and corporate influence and the power of individual action. And I'm honestly left with a mix of emotions, concern, anger, but also, a sense of hope and determination.
It's a complex issue, and there are no easy solutions.
Right.
But knowledge is power. The more we understand about the forces at play, the better equipped we are to navigate them and to, and to push for change. And this deep dive is just a starting point.
Yeah.
I encourage you, the listener, to continue exploring, delve deeper into the resources that we've mentioned, research the issues that resonate with you, and most importantly, find your own unique way to make a difference.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this thought-provoking deep dive. And to our listener, we say, stay curious. Stay engaged, and never underestimate the power of your choices. Until next time, keep exploring.